Hello, and welcome to another segment of the LPE Author Chat Series. I am Kimberly K. LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise. This month, we have our special anthology edition featuring authors from the soon-to-be released book, Women of Wisdom Walking in Excellence, Stories of Character, Wisdom, Courage, and Strength. And our special guest tonight is Jennifer Jones Bryant, who wrote the chapter, Waiting for the Other Shoe to Drop, but God built my strength. Welcome to the broadcast, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yes. So, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So, I must say, reading your chapter, my heart just went out to you. It was just so much in it that was just so gripping. And so I just want to tell you that, like, wow, great job on sharing your story with us. So you've experienced a lot of death of very close personal loved ones, mother, father, brother, one of your closest friends. So first, share with us what it was like to write about such traumatic events in your life.
So for me, writing about the story took me back to that place and time.
Yeah.
And even as early as age 5, when I start
Mm,
walking the reader through, okay, this is when I first experienced death.
mm-hmm.
Up until the loss of my brother. So each time I wrote it, it again it took me back to that time and place,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing how our senses work, because I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
So as I was putting words to paper, I was visualizing what was happening during that moment in time, and I even
Mm,
was picking up smells.
wow.
I was even picking up um, facial expressions and seeing people's faces, and it was tough. It was tough
Mm,
writing the story. And I actually, I tell many stories when I'm out and I'm speaking, and I gloss over this part of it
mm,
because it takes me back to that time of pain. And
yeah.
so when I prayed to God to say, what do you want me to write about? I would start off my chapters writing about something totally different.
Hmm.
And then in the middle of the night, God woke me up and he said, "This is your title, and this
Wow.
is what I want you to write." And I tell you, when I started writing my chapter, I was
Hmm.
done in a day.
Wow.
I was done in a day. So the next day, I just spent time trying to refine it.
Yeah. That's amazing in a day. Because
In a
that
day.
that was a whole lot that you shared in here. So I'm impressed that you were able to, and I mean that just kind of speaks to the grace of God, really, that you were able to sit and write all of that in a day, revisiting each one of those painful moments. So congrats to you on that.
And it wasn't just about writing about the death of my
Mhm.
father and my mom and my stepdaughter, and my brother and my best
Mhm.
friend. It was about telling the story about how I was able to overcome.
Yeah.
I was in telling the story about forgiveness,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And telling the story about, it's okay to take your mask off. It's
Yeah.
okay to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
It's okay to share, hey, I am not perfect.
Yeah.
Guess what? I may have been born, and I was raised in a Pentecostal,
Yeah.
apostolic, Holy Ghost, Terry on your knees church. I still suffered.
Yeah.
And I talked about being a functional depressed person, just like you have
Mhm.
a functional alcoholic,
Yeah.
functional depressed person. So it's a lot that I
Right.
squeezed in this chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, but you did it beautifully. You did it
Thank
beautifully.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I always say that there is healing through writing. So was there any part of the process that was therapeutic for you?
Um, yes, it was. It was part of the process, and I'm looking down because I'm looking at my at the chapters,
Uh-huh.
was that what was therapeutic was like you started off this interview saying, "Oh my God, you've gone through so much."
Yeah.
The realization was, "Oh my God, I've gone through
Love
so
it so much.
and God, you were there for
Yeah.
me in
Yeah.
spite of."
Hmm.
And I also talked about how I was going through a failing marriage,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Losing my brother and going through a failing marriage,
Yeah.
18-year, 20-year relationship.
Mhm.
And I have not written about that part of my life because God hasn't released me to talk about
Yeah.
that part of my life.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it was hard.
Yeah.
So yes, it was very therapeutic.
Awesome. Awesome. So you wrote, just as you mentioned a minute ago, you said, although my upbringing in a Pentecostal church provided me with a religious foundation, it wasn't enough to help me through the trauma I faced in life. Waiting for something traumatic to happen was inevitable, and that negative thought process became a part of my daily mindset. Why couldn't I live life without thinking about the next traumatic event that would raise my anxiety? Why couldn't I rejoice during the happy times? My answer is because I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But God showed himself within me to trust the process while he built my character, wisdom, courage, and strength. So you said God showed himself within me to trust the process. So what did that look like for you?
So what that looked like for me, it involved many things, and I talk about this in my chapter, and it sounds like it's an oxymoron when I say it, is that I had the biblical foundation
Yeah.
inside of me, right? I
Mhm.
had the scriptures, and throughout the day, I talk about this in my chapter. Throughout the day, I'll say, "No weapon formed against me shall
Yeah.
prosper." I'm citing it. And
Mhm.
then at the same time, I'm like, I can't wait to get home so I can just drink a bottle of wine, right?
Wow.
So it's like balancing the two. And
Mhm.
then, I can hear God's voice because I dream. I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
And so I can hear God's voice clear as day and saying, you know, you got to trust the process.
Yeah.
I am here for you. It's going to be tough. And I always tell people when God puts you in that uncomfortable place,
Mhm.
He is stretching you
Yeah.
to get you over that mountaintop. You just got to trust
Yeah.
and believe that process.
Yeah.
It was tough. I mean, I isolated myself many days. Um, I showed up to different events. Um, I would come home I would cry all the way to work. That's part of the process. I
Wow.
cried all the way to work, 45-minute drive.
Mm.
Got myself together to be that functional, happy
Yeah.
person, but functionally
Yeah.
depressed.
Mhm.
Drive back home 45 minutes, cry some more, get in my bed as soon as I get home and stay there to the
Yeah.
very next morning.
Mm.
That was part of the process.
Process.
Sitting on my couch one day, realizing I'm not me.
Mm.
Having a closest friend to say, Jen, you're not yourself.
Mm.
So I was vulnerable enough in having self awareness and self actualization to say, I need help. So I reached out to my therapist and I reached out to my psychiatrist and say, get me on a get well plan.
Mm. I love that. A get well plan.
Because here's the thing, same with my mom who battled, she had an extreme case of schizophrenia. I talk about that.
Yeah.
And having to take care of her in my teens, that was very
Mhm.
traumatic for me.
Mm.
I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Standing in front of judges to state a case that she was not herself, because I was afraid she was going to cause harm to herself at 17. I didn't know what to do with that. So what I did know was, when I became in my state of not being myself, how to seek help and not being afraid and ashamed to do that, because I knew that I had to show up as the best leader, as the best manager, and most importantly, the best mom. I had
Wow.
2 beautiful girls who were depending on me.
Wow. Wow. In the midst of all that.
In the
Wow.
midst of all that. So
Yeah.
I didn't care what people thought about
Yeah.
me.
That's good stuff.
I didn't care.
There was no time for that.
It was no time for that.
Wow. So you wrote, all these sudden deaths added another level of complication to my psyche because I was left with many questions. I went through the stages of grief and couldn't process the stages fully because death came knocking again before I could process the previous one. I was very sad, and it took all of my strength to continue life because death consumed me all the time. Wow. So in your chapter, you talked about, each one of these losses, like we were just discussing. You were talking about them in depth, and there were lots and lots of teachable moments in your chapters. Like you said, there was, about the forgiveness and, persevering through these things. So lots of teachable moments. And one part that you shared, you said, I felt that life had no meaning and wished to be released from the pain or to join my other family members. So, but then you had your own near-death experience. So share with us about that experience, and also whether or not that changed, if and how it changed your perspective about things.
So to tell that story, is it takes me back to
Yeah.
that place of time again.
Mm.
I remember I had pink eye. I didn't put that in there. I had pink eye and blue eyes, by the fact.
Uh-huh.
And I was dealing with a Jeep that had just had a fuel pump installed.
Mm.
And so I was going out on the highway after getting my medicine on 495. And as I was traveling, my Jeep just stopped.
Wow.
And at the same time that it stopped, that's when the gas light came on. So it was no warning ahead of time. It just stopped.
Mm.
And it was a snowy day.
Oh gosh.
And so 495, we know how busy
Yeah.
495 could be. And I remember having on my a necklace with my grandmother's ring on it, a ring that she had given me before she passed away. And I remember rubbing it. And my 2
Mm.
daughters were in the back seat of the Jeep, and they looked back.
Wow.
I was looking in my rear view mirror, and all I could see was an 18-wheeler coming,
Mm.
tractor trailer. And I was rubbing the ring, and I was like, God, please save us.
Wow.
My oldest daughter was in the back seat. I get teary-eyed just thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo. My oldest daughter was in the back seat, and she said, God, please don't let it hurt.
Oh.
And my youngest daughter was just screaming, Mommy, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. And I remember in that moment of time, that was the one time I could not protect them.
Mm.
So I don't know. God came in that place, and that tractor trailer, that driver broke it down,
Wow.
and he was able to slide over to the other
Wow.
lane, and there was no car there.
Mm.
But God,
Yeah.
but God, that next car that was behind that tractor trailer was a Geico tow truck.
Yes.
Oh my God. And so the driver quickly got out, and he said, Ma'am, I saw what just happened. I witnessed it. You almost lost your life.
Wow.
I am going to take you home. He asked me a series of questions like which insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have Geico. He
Right.
didn't care. He says,
Nice.
I'm taking you home.
Mm.
And so it was life changing. And my
Yeah.
daughters, they were like, um, they saw a miracle. They've seen
Mm-hmm.
miracles in our lives over and over again. But
Mm-hmm.
if they ever question God,
Yeah.
that was the day they got an answer that He is real.
Mm.
That
Wow.
miracle came through
Yes, in a major way.
in a major way.
Wow. What a testimony. I wanted you to share that out when I was reading and I was like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, God is so good.
And Kimberly, I had to
So
go back
good.
to my post. That's the other thing. I had posted about it and I was like, oh my God, yeah, that did happen.
Mm,
That did happen
that
several
did
years ago.
happen.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So you shared a new me, a virtuous woman who celebrates life. You've been able to overcome a lot, a lot. So I want to ask you though, what is it that you wish people knew about grief? Because you've had to experience a lot of it. What do you wish people knew about grief?
What I wish people knew about grief, this is going, I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna have multiple answers for
Okay.
this. It's not a
Mhm.
one answer thing.
That's fine.
What I wish people knew about grief is number one, allow yourself to go through the process.
Mm,
Denial, anger,
yeah.
acceptance, all of that.
Mhm.
Go through the process. Allow yourself
Yeah.
to feel it.
Mm,
Next is um, go to counseling. Do
yeah.
group counseling, grief counseling, and individual counseling.
Mhm.
We still have a stigma
Yeah.
in our little
Mhm.
community
Mhm.
that therapy is too rough. It's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
No, the
Ridiculous.
greatest strength that you can find is
Mhm.
saying, I know me, I know I need help. Let
Yeah.
me go find it.
Mm,
And what I also learned is when someone else have death, everybody takes death differently.
yeah.
Everybody's death is personal to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you can't tell someone, I know how you feel,
Yeah, because you don't.
because you don't. It's individualized.
Mhm.
The other piece that I learned going through grief is don't ever tell another person, get over it.
Oof, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've had that too said to me. But I learned going through the grief process, don't, everybody
Mm,
processes and
very
heals
different.
differently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was good. That's good information and so true.
And you
Um,
say to the person who's grieving, I'm here for you to
mhm.
listen.
Yeah. Mhm. And sometimes that's all people need. We spend our time trying to figure out what to do when actually what they want you to do is just be there to listen, like you said,
Without judgment.
without judgment, right? We don't have to fix it, we just have to be present and there for the person. I love that. So what is it that you want people to take away from reading your chapter?
So I was saying this at the beginning of the interview. What I would like for people to take away from it is that you don't have to be perfect.
Mm,
You don't have to be perfect to be a virtuous woman.
yeah.
You don't. It's how you live your life,
Hmm.
how you let your light shine,
Yeah.
how you are out there to help others so they can see the God in you.
Mm,
Like I said in my chapter, you don't have to walk around with a big bold sign on you to
yeah.
say, I'm a virtuous
This
woman.
woman.
The
Right.
virtuous woman. Don't you
Yeah.
want to be like me? No,
Yeah.
no. You got
Yeah.
to let your light shine. Whenever I interact with a person, I try to make sure that they know that God loves you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to greet you with a smile,
Yeah.
and I'm going to greet you with a hug, because
Mm.
that may be the only hug and smile that you may have seen or gotten that day.
True.
So, reading my chapter, again, work, I want people to learn how to learn themselves. I want
Mm-hmm.
them to learn how to work themselves through grieving. I want them to learn how to forgive others.
Mm.
And most importantly, to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves up so much. You know, I could have said, oh my God, I'm a Christian, I'm saved, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like drinking every day to try to resolve this problem. I'm eating everything
Wow.
under the sun to try to resolve this problem. Just
Mm-hmm.
beat myself up. But you can't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You got to go through the process. It's rough. I think I shared in my chapter, it was a 2-year journey.
Mm.
It was a 2-year journey
Yeah.
because I couldn't get over one death because another one was
Because
creeping
another
at
one was
the door,
coming.
right?
Wow.
And so that's what I want people to learn from the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be perfect. You
Yeah.
aim for your best, and
Yeah.
don't forget that God is there. He is all knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever your favorite verse is, whatever gives you strength, you go to that. And
Yeah.
it's still to this day, I still say, no weapon formed
Weapon.
against me
That's one of my favorites.
shall prosper. It may
Yeah.
try to form,
But it shall not prosper.
it shall not prosper. It will not prosper.
Amen. 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 Wow. So on the show, we always try to encourage other people who may be thinking about writing and sharing their story in a book. So what advice would you give to someone who might be considering writing about their journey, whether it be in a solo project or an anthology project such as this one?
So again, my advice would be, and it won't be a single answer. So
That's fine.
hopefully I can indulge you with multiple responses.
Absolutely.
Um, so my advice would be um, pray about pray
Mhm.
about which parts of your life you want to share. The other piece I would say, journal.
Mm,
Journal. My first book came out of a journal,
wow.
from journaling.
Hmm.
That's important. That's a part of helping you through the process. The
Hmm.
other piece, too, depending on the nature of what you're writing about, if you have other people you're going to name in the book, or you
Mm,
may not even put their name in the book,
yeah.
please respect the other people to let
Mhm.
them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the story that I'm going to tell. Are
Mhm.
you okay with that? Are you am I okay to proceed with that?
Yeah.
Because you want their support.
Mhm.
And so my other piece too is pray about, if you go into a collaboration project, because there are collaboration projects everywhere,
All over the place. Yeah.
all over the place.
Hmm.
And what I told Dr. Tasheka Green, I
Hmm.
said, this has been the best
Oh,
collaboration
beautiful.
project I've ever been a part of. It
That's
has been
awesome.
professional. Opportunities have been vast.
That's awesome.
Although she's been the wonderful visionary
Mhm.
and you are the publisher, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel that way. You get what I'm
Amen.
saying?
Yeah.
You guys have said, hey, we may be behind the scenes making it
Yeah.
happen, but we want the light to shine on you guys.
Yes. Yeah.
So I can appreciate that, but at
That's
the end
awesome.
of the day, when people are writing their stories, it might have happened to them, but it's for
Mhm.
them to help others heal.
Yeah. Our stories are not about us.
It's not
They're
about
not
us.
about us at all.
Nope.
Wow. Well, thank you. This has been such a joy to have you on the segment.
Thank you.
And so, women of virtue walking in excellence is a great, great collaboration. I have enjoyed all of your stories and working with you guys. And like you said, it's been just a really positive experience. And so I'm so grateful for that, and grateful for our visionary author in this project, Dr. Tasheka L. Green. Yay, celebrate her. And I am just honored to be the publisher for this work. And so thank you so much for coming and sharing with our viewing audience your amazing story. And I know they can't wait to get the book and read the rest of it. But thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story.
Thank you so much. And as you know, as I always post, hey, go ignite your fire, show the world your magic, and go get what's yours.
I love it. I love it. And to our viewing audience, thank you so much for joining us for another segment of the LPE Author Chat series. And if you are someone who's thinking about writing your own book, head on over to www.laboopublishing.com and connect with us there. Take care and be blessed, everyone. Good night.
Good night.